conference devoted to 10 years later is very important because it is a good moment to reflect upon what happened and why did it happen, and also what have we learned. I think the other element which makes it important is that the agenda is quite broader than simply focusing on the financial crisis, and it also looks at more structural developments that have been happening in parallel. Has the economy fully recovered? It's a difficult question in the sense that it depends on which perspective you take. If you look, for instance, at a number of financial markets, the recovery was rather swift. If you look at the real economy, thinking about the evolution of GDP, there it took longer. That is partly related to the fact that in the Eurozone we had 2 recessions in a row because of the sovereign debt crisis. In addition, you have to make a distinction between certain countries. Germany has been flying, so to say, has been really powering ahead. The US is also well above the GDP levels that we had back at the end of 2007. Eurozone on average as well, but then other countries have been lagging. One country which is important to mention is Italy. Spillovers to emerging markets is a very important topic. There has been abundant research in that area which shows that the monetary policy conducted by the Federal Reserve has an impact on other economies, in particular emerging economies. So what happens is that when you have massive easing, there's a lot of capital flowing to these countries. The concern that we have today is that this has really stimulated companies in emerging economies to take on debt labeled in dollars, and that means that when we're in an environment that the central bank in the US is tightening policy and that the dollar is rising, it puts pressure on their P&L and on their balance sheet, and that means you can then have a spillover in the other direction, whereby headwinds in the developing economies end up weighing on the growth outlook in the developed world.